ready to be expected. Please stay in your seat. No? Good morning. This listening session of the Montana Public Service Commission is called to order. I'm Commission President Brad Molnar. With me are Commissioners Kinucci. With me are Commissioners Pinucci, and I believe Commissioner Wellborn is online. I don't know. We've heard from Commissioner Bukacek or Commissioner Fielder. If they join us, I will announce that. For the record, the time is 9 a.m. The day is September 23, 2025, and we're conducting this listening session from the Bollinger Room of the Montana Public Service Commission, 1701 Prospect Avenue in Helena, and by Zoom. The purpose of this session is to receive public comments on Northwestern Energy's wildfire mitigation plan, which has been assigned Commission Docket number 2025.08.059. The Commission encourages all commenters to review Northwestern's plan, which can be found on the Commission's website under What's Trending, and also in the Commission's online Ready portal under docket number 2025.08.059. The plan is also available on Northwestern Energy's website. Answers to many of your questions may be found in the detailed explanations and tables included in the plan. I will now ask the Commission's legal counsel, Pamela Snyder-Varnes, to summarize the docket.
Thank you, President Molnar. Commissioners, I will begin with a brief summary of House Bill 490. The 2025 Montana Legislature enacted House Bill 490, which created a new process for regulated utilities in Montana to submit wildfire mitigation plans to the Commission for review and approval. HB 490 shields utilities from certain types of wildfire liability if the utility substantially follows an approved wildfire mitigation plan. House Bill 490 also creates a rebuttable presumption that a utility who has begun implementing its approved wildfire mitigation plan acted reasonably in operating its electric transmission and distribution facilities. The rebuttable presumption may be overcome by other evidence. Northwestern's wildfire mitigation plan must include a description of areas in which Northwestern has electric facilities or electric transmission and distribution activities that may be subject to a heightened risk of wildfire, the strategies and programs Northwestern will use to inspect, maintain, repair, and operate its electric facilities, the strategies and programs Northwestern will use to perform vegetation management, the strategies for modifications or upgrades to electric facilities and preventative programs Northwestern will employ to reduce the risk of its electric facilities igniting a wildfire, and Northwestern's strategies and methods for de-energizing power lines and modifying electric facility operations to mitigate potential wildfires. Also, the methods Northwestern intends to use to restore its electrical system in the event systems are de-energized for the prevention of wildfire, the estimated incremental costs associated with implementing the plan, including system improvements and upgrades, community outreach and public awareness efforts before, during a wildfire season, and Northwestern's participation with state or local wildland fire protection plans. Under HB 490, the Commission must allow public comment on Northwestern's plan for a period of 45 days, hold at least one public meeting, and issue its decision within 60 days of the close of public comment. The Commission must review and approve Northwestern's wildfire mitigation plan if the Commission determines the plan contains all the required elements listed above, is in the public interest, and reasonably balances the incremental costs of implementing the plan with the risk of a potential wildfire. If the plan does not meet the above requirements, the Commission must identify deficiencies in the plan, provide Northwestern with required modifications in writing, and give Northwestern the opportunity to correct deficiencies and resubmit the plan for approval. The wildfire mitigation plan approval process is not a contested case proceeding like a rate case. Turning now to the present docket, Northwestern filed its wildfire mitigation plan with the Commission on August 11th of 2025. Northwestern asserts the plan includes all the components required by HB 490, reflects a reasonable balance between the cost and wildfire risk, and serves the public interest in safeguarding Montana communities. The Commission issued a notice of public hearing and opportunity for comment on Northwestern's wildfire mitigation plan on August 20th of 2025. The notice informed the public that the Commission would conduct 2 public meetings on the plan. The first meeting was an informational meeting held on September 2nd here in the Bollinger Room at the Commission's offices. And the purpose of that meeting was for the public to hear a presentation of the plan by Northwestern. The second meeting is today's listening session, the purpose of which is for the Commission to listen to comments from the public about Northwestern Energy's plan. The public notice also triggered the 45-day public comment period under House Bill 490, which ends on this Thursday, September 25th. Thus, after today's listening session, the Commission will continue to accept public comment in writing or by phone until Thursday of this week, which is September 25th. To provide public comment by phone, you can call the Commission at 1-800-646-6150. You can also email your comments to the Commission at pschelp@mt.gov or submit them online through the Commission's online Ready portal under docket number 2025-08059. The Commission and its staff will review all timely public comments when preparing its approval of or identification of deficiencies in Northwestern's plan. The Commission will also consider comments from the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation and Montana Disaster and Emergency Services, both of whom are required to review Northwestern's wildfire mitigation plan under HB 490 and provide comments and recommendations about the aspects of the plan within their respective jurisdictions. The Commission will issue its final review of Northwestern's wildfire mitigation plan on or before November 24th of 2025. President Molnar, this concludes my summary of this matter.
Thank you. We are here today to listen to public comments. As a result, this meeting will not, that's bold, will not have a question and answer format. So if you say something, I may interrupt you and say, please spell your name or something, but that's going to be about it. The Commission and staff will not be commenting today or answering questions. If certain technical questions arise, I may defer to the Commission's legal counsel. Please be mindful of your use of time so that others have adequate time to comment. Comments should be delivered professionally and respectfully. Commenters should please confine their remarks to the specific topic of the listening session, which relates to Northwestern's wildfire mitigation plan. The Commission now invites members of the public to comment. Please remember to speak into the microphone, state and spell your name, and state where you are from. We do not need your physical address, just the town where you live. Please also identify any organization on whose behalf you are speaking, if applicable. Please note that this session is being recorded and all comments received will be public record. So please do not include confidential or private information in your comments. We will begin with the commenters in the room and then move to commenters online. And I see a show of hands as to who would like to comment this morning. I see one. So there will not be a time limit, but I'm going to self-impose 5 minutes if that's okay. To allow as many people to comment as possible, I will ask everyone to stay on point and keep your comments to no longer than 5 minutes. With that in mind, we have our first commenter in the room. Please come up to the podium, and then we will move to commenters online.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you please state your name, spell your last name, and give us the town you're from?
Mr. President, Commissioners, my name is Nick Fitzmaurice. That's Fitzmaurice. I am the Energy Transition Engineer with the Montana Environmental Information Center that's based out of Helena. Thank you for having me this morning for this hearing, and I will keep the comments relatively brief. The first part, I want to reiterate something that I brought up at a meeting a few weeks ago about the commission's ability to appoint a technical master. This bill, House Bill 490, that has brought this process along, gave the commission the opportunity to hire such a technical expert to review a wildfire mitigation plan. While the commission's expert staff is very capable of the regulatory work that is undertaken by this body, wildfire mitigation plans are a new area and generally outside of the scope of what would generally has been reviewed. And I would encourage the commission to pause and consider hiring that technical master and using it to ensure that the Northwestern's plan thoroughly meets all technical requirements and that it truly protects customers from the potential for a utility sparked wildfire. These are costs that the ratepayers will bear for the investments in infrastructure in a plan for mitigating wildfire, as well as if Northwestern is shielded from liability, those customers and those Montanans who are impacted by potentially sparked fire should a mitigation plan fail to prevent that should be adequately protected because they're going to be the ones footing the bill for that liability. And the second point that I'm going to touch on is just the fact that there's discussion in Northwestern's wildfire plan, and this has come up before, that wildfire risks are increasing. Wildfire season is expanding dramatically in Montana. That's lengthened, hotter, drier seasons. And this is in large part due to climate change. This is something that's been acknowledged by the utility in certain settings. And even in the wildfire management plan itself, there's some discussion and some graphs showing how the plan has been, or how the wildfire season has been expanding over the years, and projections for even lengthened wildfire seasons into the future, with a footnote to a citation that is discussing the increasing wildfire risks due to climate change. However, none of the rest of the report, I believe that footnote was on page 16, but none of the rest of the report actually discusses climate change, discusses that driver of increasing risk, nor does it discuss any mitigation plans for reducing the utilities' greenhouse gas emissions that are driving increased climate change, anthropogenic climate change, and therefore increasing utility wildfire risk. Meanwhile, rather than addressing said risk, the utility, Northwestern Energy, has been really doubling down in its fossil fuel investments with the bringing online Yellowstone County Generating Station methane gas plant, as well as plans to increase its ownership in the Colstrip plant at the end of the year, which are just increasing the utility's greenhouse gas emissions, driving up further its contribution to climate change, and really exacerbating this problem of wildfires that now we're here saying that this plan is going to protect the utility from liability should it cause a wildfire, even though its actions are increasing the context and the likelihood of such a fire being catastrophic. So I would say that without addressing these emissions and this kind of glaring piece of the puzzle for wildfire mitigation, Northwestern's plan would remain woefully inadequate, and would urge the commission to make that same assessment. So thank you all for listening to this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzmaurice. Did any other in-person commenters enter the room? Seeing none, do we have a online commenter or two that are online? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President, President Molnar, and commissioners. Can you hear me?
I can. This is Derek
Thank
Goldman.
you.
Mr. Goldman, please spell your last name. Tell us who
Derek
you are.
Goldman, Goldman. I'm representing the Northwest Energy Coalition, and I'm calling in from Missoula. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. The Northwest Energy Coalition is an alliance of over 100 environmental, civic, human service organizations, utilities, and businesses in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Montana, and British Columbia, plus many individual members, and we work to advance clean, equitable, and affordable energy policies by leveraging our analytic expertise and convening a broad alliance of people and organizations. Northwest Energy Coalition has engaged, reviewed, or otherwise commented on utility wildfire mitigation plans throughout the region and will be submitting more detailed written comments to this commission by Thursday's deadline. So I want to just highlight a few things today for the commission's consideration. First of all, we appreciate the informative presentation by Northwestern Energy 2 weeks ago, particularly the level of fire risk geographic assessment in the plan, the infrastructure resilience model, and how they applied that is very well done, particularly the level of detail compared to peer utilities. Secondly, point I want to raise, because with respect to House Bill 490, because a utility with an approved wildfire mitigation plan in Montana now is shielded from a strict liability legal standard for wildfires, and because wildfire mitigation costs are likely to be passed on to customers, House Bill 490 could create an incentive for utilities to gold plate or overspend on wildfire mitigation. Unfortunately, the level of cost detail in Northwestern Energy's cost estimate, which is Appendix F, if you have the plan in front of you, is somewhat lacking. It's a mere 5-line table of costs for each of the 5 categories of mitigation. For instance, it's not clear how much of system preparedness budget is allocated to grid hardening infrastructure like conductors. And we feel that in order to determine whether these costs are appropriate, that the commission should have a clearer view and a finer scale view of the cost detail for mitigation costs, as Northwestern will undoubtedly seek cost recovery of mitigation measures in a future rate review. Next, with utilities now inoculated from strict liability for utility-caused wildfires, it's reasonable to assume that utilities will see significant savings in their corporate liability insurance premiums. However, homeowners and businesses, on the other hand, will see their insurance premiums rise as liability for wildfire shifts from the utility to homeowners and businesses. We'd like the commission to explore options for requiring utilities to pass on some of their own liability insurance savings to their customers to offset the rising cost of premiums that customers will incur. Next, the largest cause of increased wildfire season length, fire frequency, and severity is global climate change and the associated drought that we experience in our region. Yet Northwestern Energy continues to increase its investments in greenhouse gas polluting resources while actively opposing efforts to expand affordable non-emitting resources like community solar. Finally, Mr. President and Commission, we support the provision in House Bill 490 authorizing funds for the Commission to hire a technical master to review submitted WMPs from utilities. We're disappointed that that approach wasn't elected by the Commission at this time. Moving forward in future wildfire mitigation plan cases and dockets, we'd strongly urge the PSC to exercise its legislative authority to hire that technical master and bring that level of expertise to submitted plans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman. Are there any further commenters online? Seeing none. Seeing no further public commenters, we're ready to, got my pages mixed up. Seeing no further comments. Are we officially done? According to this, we are. Okay, according to this, we're done. So before I say that, I'm going to answer a question that's come up, and it's actually in my script, without which I'm usually fairly moot. Bold, italics, and underlined, or at least bold. This is not a contested case proceeding. We are listening to and working on a plan. So what happened today in the way of public comment is wildly important. I thank them for being here and doing that. Unlike, say, a rate case, there will not be an evidentiary period. There will not be a discovery period, examination, cross-examination, full hearing. So those that are interested in this should stay tuned, and you might not be able to make a public comment on this. You can still use PSC help and let us know if you have, particularly if you have expertise and you would like to bring it to our attention. That would be appreciated. So seeing no further public commenters, we are ready to adjourn this listening session. The commission will also continue to accept public comment in writing and by phone. It's somewhat limited in time for this, but through PSC help, it goes to the commissioner that you address it to. To provide public comment, please call the commission at 1-800-646 or email the commission at pschelp@mt.gov or submit comments online through the commission's online REDI, REDDI portal under docket number 2025.08.059. Please remember that the deadline for public comment is September 25, 2025. Thank you for the public comments. The time is 9:20 a.m. and this listening session is now adjourned.